Today I'm doing part 1 of my series on basic core activation. If you don't know what the core is, I'll put a link to our website. This will go into a little bit more detail about what is the core, what are the parts that make up the core, and why is it important that you know how to activate your core at any stage of life, but especially if you're pregnant. So today in part 1, we are going to talk about a muscle called the diaphragm. So I compare the core to a box. So the lid of our box is going to be this muscle called the diaphragm. The diaphragm is important for a number of reasons, but mostly because it's our primary breathing muscle. So we have other muscles that we can use to help with breathing. They're called accessory muscles. So you usually see these muscles at work when someone's either really anxious or when someone just finished a workout and they're breathing really hard. You'll see that their shoulders are moving up and down, like they're trying to get every last bit of air in that they possibly can. So day to day in our usual lives, we don't need to be using all these extra muscles to breathe. When we over rely on these muscles, we can get upper back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain. So obviously we don't want any of that. We want to really know how to use our diaphragm because it's such a big muscle that can handle this job all by itself. So the diaphragm is a big dome-shaped muscle that cuts right across our trunk. So this muscle separates the trunk into two cavities. So above the diaphragm we have our chest cavity, below the diaphragm we have our abdominal cavity. So as you take a deep breath in, that dome inverts or flips over. That creates a vacuum effect in the chest that pulls air into the lungs. At the same time, that diaphragm is pushing down on our abdominal contents, all of our internal organs. And then when you exhale, that dome flips back over, it releases the pressure on the abdomen, and it forces that air out as you exhale. So during pregnancy, and you can see I have a pregnant belly right now, so you can picture this even better. So when my diaphragm flips over and pushes against my abdomen, it doesn't only have to push against the internal organs that it usually would. So now there's a fetus in there too that's creating even more pressure. So that diaphragm really has to push down for me to take a big, deep inhale. So you'll hear a lot of pregnant women saying it's hard to breathe when you're pregnant. So you have all this extra content in your abdomen that makes that diaphragm have to work even harder. So it's really important that you know how to activate your diaphragm effectively. So that's just what I'm going to show you how to do. I'll have you lay on your back. Go ahead and join me. All right, flat on your back, knees are bent, and we're going to place one hand on our chest, right at the sternum or breastbone, and then we're going to place one hand on our stomach. So if that diaphragm is working correctly, as we breathe, we should feel the hand on our stomach rise and lower. And we should feel nothing happening with this hand on our chest, okay? So let's try that a few times. Take a deep breath in and out, in and out. One more, in and out. So if you're paying attention, you can see that the hand on my stomach is moving up and down. The hand on my chest is staying still. So this means that I'm using my diaphragm to breathe. I'm not using all these accessory muscles in my shoulders and my neck and upper back. I'm only using my diaphragm. So let's try that one more time. Deep breath in and out, in and out. One more breath in and out. Perfect. Okay, so let's sit up. So that is a good first step at learning how to activate your diaphragm. The only problem is that the diaphragm wraps all the way around your trunk. So we don't only want movement to happen in the front, going forward and backwards. We want our entire abdomen to expand and contract as we breathe, okay? So the next step is that we're gonna put both hands around our waist. I know I don't have much of a waist right now, but you can get the idea. So hands around your waist, and you're gonna really widen your fingers so you can feel as much as possible as we're breathing this time. So as you take a deep breath in, you wanna feel your hands come apart, your rib cage expands, and then as you breathe out, your hands should come back together, okay? So let's try that. Deep breath in, and out, in, and out, in, and out. Good. So now we know that our diaphragm is working all the way around, not just these fibers in the front, but our entire diaphragm is working as we're taking deep breaths. Okay, so in part 2, we'll go a little bit more into the muscles that wrap all the way around our trunk. So we have multifidus in the back, and we have transverse abdominis that wraps around kind of like a corset of the abdomen. So thank you for joining me today. Make sure you check out thefitnewmom.com for more ideas on how to have a healthy and fit pregnancy. And I'll see you back in part 2.